I've got the recipe for you. This dip is just amazing. It just melts in your mouth. Ooh, bon appetit. Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. You know, I'm so glad summer's gone and fall is in the air, and there's nothing like the seasonal fruits and vegetables that we can take advantage of this time of year. So I've got 3 wonderful recipes today. We're going to start with a sweet potato, Granny Smith apple, and honey maple sausage pot pie. Does that sound amazing? It's going to be so good. And then we're going to move into Barefoot Contessa's Cape Cod chopped salad, but we're going to put a southern twist on it. And then what about a pumpkin spice latte cookie that's soft and yummy, and it has a brown butter drizzle on the top. Then in Vera's Corner today, I'm going to talk about carving pumpkins because it's that time of year. So we've got a lot to do. Let's get started. You know, I'm not sure whether it's just the aromas or the actual colors that you use this time of year when it's fall and you're in the kitchen, but I'm just enjoying the way this is already smelling. So I've been a little bit busy. I've already gone ahead and melted the butter. I've added my Vidalia onions, and what you want to look for there is just when they're translucent. That's when it's time to add the garlic. If you add garlic when you're doing the onions at the first, you know, they're going to get brown real quick. And brown is one thing, but burnt is something else. So you want to wait until the onions are translucent, and then by the time that's done, everything comes together. Then you add your flour, and I like to add that a little bit at a time. Just whisk it because it's going to get thick quick. Then the last thing is your chicken stock. And again, slow is better here. If you'll pour it in slowly in one little spot and stir it around and then continue to add. But you're gonna let this simmer for a bit until it looks just like it looks right now. Nice and creamy. This is that great filling that goes in with your pot pie. All right, so we've got some other yummy things that are going in this. A little bit of Dijon mustard. And I just love those flavors, not only with the apple, but also with the sweet potato. It just really enhances it. Then I've got some apple cider vinegar. And then our spice today is fresh rosemary. And you know, people have this in their yard. In the South, y'all, we use this for hedges. It's just wonderful. It smells good, but you want to just add a pinch because it has a very strong flavor. You've got so many things you want to really highlight in this recipe. You don't want it to be overtaken by the rosemary. All right, so now all the stars of the show. We've got some beautiful sweet potatoes and potatoes. I'm going to add those in. And just little bite-sized pieces. All right, Granny Smith apple. So that's a little bit on the tart side. So that's going to be yummy. And they're going to start turning brown, of course, while you're cutting them, but it won't matter once they get in here. Now, the maple sausage. And this is my favorite part of this recipe because, you know, when you think about these ingredients, you've got sweet potatoes, you've got the Vidalia onions that are sweet, you've got the tart Granny Smith apples. I just thought, you know, it needs a little bit more sweetness. So the maple in this sausage just makes this amazing. All right, so now I've got my cast iron skillet. I'm gonna bring that over. And I just love to use this as a vessel when I'm doing this sort of thing because it goes straight to the table. It's nice and seasoned, so I'm just gonna pour this right in. You know, when I think about the times when my boys were little and I was in a big hurry and there wasn't gonna be a big thing for dinner, thank goodness they loved chicken pot pies because they certainly ate enough of them. But they would have loved this recipe, so I hope both boys will try this. All right, so now I've got my pie crust that's gonna go on it. So let me move this over just a little bit. And this is my Pillsbury pie crust. And I'm gonna open it up. You've got a nice circle. And see, it's just the right size. Let me show you for this pot. I'm gonna fold it into fourths. And then I'm just gonna take my little paring knife and make my slits. Just quick little cuts on both sides. All right, then I'm gonna bring my pan back. That's why I go to the gym, so I can pick up cast iron skillets. All right, open that up. All right, so then I'm gonna make an X right in the middle. And I'm not gonna do anything with that right this minute, but I'm gonna ask all of you to think about what I might be doing with that X. And we'll talk about that when we come back from the break. But now I've got my little crimp going. And that's just a matter of going, pinching with your fingers, and then taking your point finger to make the little beautiful scallop. And then you want to press it down. So I'm going to keep working on this and get that ready to go in the oven. And when we come back from the break, we're going to get started on Barefoot Contessa's chopped salad, but I'm going to put a Southern twist on it. And you know what? She might like that too. So come back with us in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, and if you're just joining me today, we're doing all things about fall fruits and vegetables with wonderful recipes that'll be your go-tos this fall when you're entertaining. So the recipe that we're getting ready to do now is a twist on Barefoot Contessa's Back to Basics. It's a chopped salad, and the first ingredient that I'm changing in the recipe, she uses walnuts, and so since we're in the South, we're gonna toast some pecans for this recipe. So I don't have any seasoning in my skillet. I've got it on like a medium heat. It's gonna take a few minutes for those to get nice and toasty, brings out the natural oils and the flavor in those pecans. But remember in the last part, we talked about this pie crust, and I went ahead and finished crimping it, and I pushed it down so it'll stay on the edges. Then I did a little milk wash so it'll be nice and golden brown. But I did a little X on the top, and I asked you, did you know what I was doing that for? How many of you knew the answer? It's my pie bird, people. I thought that birds were baked in pies when I used to read Mother Goose as a child. And I mean, is that the cutest thing ever? I'm gonna put this into my 375-degree oven. And it's gonna actually bake for about an hour and 15 minutes. But the pie bird takes all the juices so it doesn't go over when you are baking it. So it's awesome. All right, so now let's get started on this delicious dressing that goes with this. And this is where I'm changing it again. Anna uses olive oil. I'm going to use my Pecan Ridge Plantation pecan oil. It is amazing. About 1/3 of a cup. And then I've got other really great ingredients. You know, this really has a wonderful flavor. I use it in cooking all the time, but it's great for dressings too. I've got some Dijon mustard, some maple syrup. Now we've got apple cider vinegar. See, we are just marrying everything fall. Some orange zest, and then some freshly squeezed orange juice. And remember, when your recipe calls for zest, you want to do that before you get the zest off, before you get the juice out of that orange. All right, we're gonna hang on to that until the end. So the salad is arugula. I love it. It's just got a great flavor. We're gonna add in, let me toss those pecans around again. I'm gonna add in some Granny Smith apple, some craisins, and let's just crumble up some blue cheese in there. It's just amazing. And you can put as little, as much of that as you like. And then back over here to these pecans. I'm gonna put those on the top. All right, so we're going to see this again in the presentation. But before we go to break, in Vera's Corner today, I'm going to give you some tips on carving pumpkin. And then when we come back, we're going to do the fall cookie that is going to be the star of the show. So I won't mix this until the end, so come back with me in just a few minutes. Carving pumpkins is a great experience for children and adults. Today I'm going to share some great tips to make the most of your fall pumpkin carving experience. When shopping for your pumpkin, buy a pumpkin with a green stem if you can. This indicates the pumpkin is fresher and has been handled less than the others. To maintain the structural integrity of the pumpkin, don't cut the hole in the top or the bottom. Cut it in the back. Only do this if you're using artificial lights inside, not a candle. Scrape out as much of the stringy bits inside as you can, and then cover the entire inside with petroleum jelly. This will help keep the pumpkin fresher longer. Don't get rid of the seeds. Pumpkin seeds are a perfect crunchy fall snack. Have an idea for the design you would like to create before you get started? If you are freehanding your design, use a dry erase marker so you can make edits until your design is right. If you'd rather not freehand, use cookie cutters for easy designs. Use a rubber mallet to push the cookie cutter into the wall of the pumpkin. When you're finished, cover the cut sections with petroleum jelly. Place your artificial light inside and enjoy. Welcome back, everybody, and you know what? We've got this fall dinner well underway. That pot pie smells amazing in the oven, and then honestly, that salad, I could eat it for lunch every single day. But now we are doing the star of the show, which is the pumpkin spice latte cookie, and it has a brown butter drizzle that goes on the top. So we're going to actually start with the brown butter first because it takes a few minutes. So I've got my pan just on a medium, kind of a medium high. And you know, I love my induction cooktop because you can really regulate that heat. So while that's melting, and I'm going to hope to remember to look at it while it's going, I'm going to go ahead and mix up my dry ingredients. So we've got our flour, and then we've got all of the wonderful fall spices that are going in it. We've got cinnamon, we've got pumpkin pie spice, we have cloves and ginger. So those are already together. I'm just going to dump those right in. All right, then I've got baking soda and salt. I'm just going to whisk these dry ingredients together. And it just, oh my goodness, it makes you feel like fall, even if it's still hot outside, to have these aromas in your house. All right, so now the wet ingredients. I've got light brown sugar. I'm going to add to that melted butter. Okay, so you're thinking melted butter. And when you're usually making cookies or anything else that you're baking, you are using creaming butter. So the difference here is if you want a chewy cookie, if you want a moist chewy cookie, you're going to use melted butter. My next ingredients is pumpkin puree. And don't buy pumpkin pie spice because that will not be what you're looking for. All right, turn that up just a little bit. All right, so back to the butter. If you want that chewy cookie, you want to use the melted butter, but that was vanilla. You're going to have to refrigerate the dough, but that's no problem. Now we've got espresso, instant espresso, or instant coffee, either one. So just those ingredients are just amazing. The egg is in there to, you know, and I'm using a whole egg yolk and not the whole egg. So you just want to mix that together. All right, now I'm going to add the dry to it with my whisk. So just pour it in a little bit at a time and start whisking. And this just is a really loose dough, but like I said, when you refrigerate it, it's going to come together really well. So let me check on that butter. It's looking good. All right, so you don't want to over mix, but you just want to make sure you've incorporated all the flour into this. And that looks about right. And I've gone ahead and made some ahead, and it's in the refrigerator, so I'm going to do a quick transfer here. All right, let's pull one in and one out. All right, so that's good to go. All right, so let's get started on this drizzle that goes with it, because that butter is looking pretty good there. Give it another, just a second. And I'm going to add in my vanilla. And now my brown butter. I just love the way that smells when it's gotten, you know, nice and golden brown, and you're looking for some little brown specks in there. And whenever you're doing anything like this, less is more. So the recipe calls, you know, for about 1/4 of a cup of milk. So I'm going to add all of it except for about a tablespoon. And what you're looking for here, and see how brown that butter, it just gives you kind of a nice little light caramel color. You're just looking for this to have a really nice drizzle to it. So let's see if we're there. That looks pretty good. That'll drizzle on those cookies great. So let me quickly show you what you're trying to do here in terms of the cookie. One of the reasons you want this to be refrigerated is because if you put it on the pan when it's not stone cold, your cookies are going to go completely flat. So I love to use these little ice cream scoops to just get the right amount. And we're going to put those about an inch apart on the cookie sheet. All right, so when we come back from the break, we're going to drizzle these cookies. We're going to get everything set up, and we're going to be ready for a wonderful fall evening together. So come back with me in just a few minutes. I'll keep on working. Welcome back, everybody. And I don't know about you, but fall is just my favorite time of year. I love the cool weather. I love the clothing. I love the foods and the aromas that bring us all together during the fall. So we've just really had a great time today. The recipes are just fantastic. And as always, they're available on our website at VeryVera.com. So let's talk about these pumpkin spice latte cookies. The recipe yields about 24 of these cookies, and the star of the show is, of course, the brown butter glaze that goes on top. So let's just put a little bit of this glaze on these cookies. Oh, I just love it. And this is where the kids can get involved. They can get in there because there's no right or wrong way to do this. Maybe a little bit is good, but more is even better. But remember, in this recipe, we melted the butter, thus yielding a really moist, chewy cookie, and that's what you've got here. So these are amazing. Make great teacher gifts, great things for when you're having fall friends over. All right, let's go to the salad, the Ina Garten's chopped salad, which is just one of my favorite recipes, but we kind of put a twist on it today with things that actually speak to the South. So the dressing, I'm going to go ahead and add my freshly ground pepper and a little bit of salt and just whisk that up again. And then we've got all the wonderful things, the blue cheese, the Granny Smith apples, the craisins in there. And now we're just going to dress it. And we don't want to overdress, you know, you don't want to overdress whether you're getting ready to go somewhere or whatever it is. All right, so we can toss that up, mix it with a little bit of freshly cooked bacon on the top. That is scrumptious. All right, then the pie. Look at that pie bird, and when this thing came out of the oven, it was just smoking. There was no overflow because it all went up in your little pie bird. So let's check this out. And you know, a pot pie, you just scoop into it, and that flaky crust, everybody, you would never know I didn't make it myself, and that's why I recommend Pillsbury pie crust. if you're not gonna make it from scratch. That is amazing. And I'm gonna put a little bit of salad on there with it. And that's just a beautiful way to end see, look at that, a beautiful dinner. All right, so we've got a great giveaway today. I mentioned Pecan Ridge Plantation. We use the pecan oil in the dressing. And you know, we've worked with them for years. It's just a great company. And last year, when Hurricane Michael came through, they lost over 50% of their pecan grove. It was just a devastating thing. But you know what? They are a strong family and they are doing great. So they're working with us for a giveaway. So we want you to go to our Instagram and Facebook page to find everything you need to know about the giveaway and enter that, because we're going to give away a wonderful package that has their pecan oil, their truffle oil, and some wonderful seasoning packets. So this is a great meal. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to certainly carve a pumpkin like we did in Vera's Corner today. And then next week, we're going to have a show all about crab. So remember, no matter what you do, do it in good taste. I hope you'll come back and join me again next week.